You know, for professional athletes, their bodies are so much a part of their identity. For bodybuilders, that reality is magnified. The quest for perfection is their livelihoods. But for one Cleveland pro, he's showing us sometimes the blemishes can reveal more strength than the muscles themselves. On this stage, looks are everything. Flaws literally judged.
Your favorite, most muscular.
And imperfections are graded.
Face front.
And when the spotlights shine on one of bodybuilding's most recognizable figures,
From Cleveland, Ohio, Michael Anderson.
All right, Michael.
you can't help but stare.
I wish I was training just to feel good about how I look on the beach, but the judges are hard.
Cleveland's Michael Anderson is a giant in the bodybuilding world.
He's what we call the OG, you know,
Let's go.
he was the trendsetter.
A two-time national champion, a pro who's competed on the world's biggest stages in the men's physique category, a genre he helped launch almost a decade ago.
I just happened to fall into the sport at the right time. Bucket list thing, mind you. It was something I was only going to do once. You know, here I am training for my 53rd competition.
Competitions that have included 3 Mr. Olympias and multiple appearances at the famed Arnold Classic in Columbus.
You know, my name is in the record books for a lot of firsts for this sport. And then, you know, I got to come back and be the first amputee. You know, it's all still pretty surreal.
Michael's body, so elite in so many ways, began to fail for the first time in late 2015.
Being an athlete, especially being a professional athlete, you suck it up, you deal with the pain. When you think something is an injury, you'll address it when the time is appropriate, and sometimes you have to just work through an injury. And that's what I thought I was doing, was working through an injury.
What Michael was really working through was much more significant. Compartment syndrome, chronic internal inflammation, which coupled with other underlying health issues ultimately killed off much of the tissue in his right foot.
You know, ironically, at that time, you know, the doctor said you might not walk the same again. So here I am thinking I'm going to have a minor limp, and that's the end of the world. I would give anything to just have a minor limp.
13 months and 21 procedures later, Michael's health only declined.
We just decided that, okay, enough's enough. I just felt like I could have much more of a life with a prosthetic than the life that I was living in a hospital bed.
In February of 2017, Michael's stage career, as he knew it, was over.
My body had emaciated lying in that hospital bed. I lost 60 pounds in bed rest. There was just nothing left of me. I had pretty much come to accept that I was done, that there was no other place for me in this sport.
But at a point in life in which Michael could have easily given up, he found support in a likely place with an unlikely connection. His father, also an amputee.
It was really nice to be able to lean on someone emotionally who had my back 100% and knew what I was feeling. That helped, you know, tremendously.
Helped motivate Michael back to health and back to the gym.
My dad was so proud of what I was doing. What is it? Well, I don't know, but I'm proud, you know?
The 2018 Pittsburgh Pro was to be his splash back. The same place he'd won his first national title 6 years before. Only Michael never made it.
The day that I was supposed to start training for that competition was the day that I buried my father.
Just 7 days after a pancreatic cancer diagnosis, Larry Anderson was gone.
When you assume something's going to be the way that it is forever and ever, you take it for granted.
And for the second time in a year, the spotlights on Michael's career went dim.
Nothing seemed right about it.
Because as he already discovered once, healing is a process.
I felt like I owed it to myself and I owed it to him to take the time to grieve.
But just like with his leg, loss would not keep Michael away.
I think there are normal moments where Michael would hit a valley and the thoughts were more difficult to get through and facing the reality of you know, what he was dealing with. But it never became the permanent state of mind. That state of mind was, how do I get back on stage and how soon can I do it?
It took months of grieving, coupled with countless hours of training, navigating both a new body and a new life without one of his biggest fans.
It was a lot to come back from, a lot to try to overcome, but if I didn't, it would have overcome me.
That summer, Michael completed his comeback. And after a tune-up in Chicago, returned to Pittsburgh, the same city he won his first national title seemingly a lifetime ago.
Number 73, Michael Anderson.
And won again.
It was one of my proudest moments.
And the dominance, that came back too, to the tune of 6 titles since his amputation.
It's all about finishing what you start.
Proving even in a sport that chases perfection, the only true disqualifier is giving up.
I could not control the death of my father. I couldn't control the loss of my leg. I could very easily just get back in bed and say, no one would blame me, but I don't know who's watching me. And I don't know who needs to see that person, that beacon, that inspiration,
Runner-up in second place.
so that they can be the best them that they can be.
In Cleveland, John Dawes.
Two more. Come on.
News 5.
That burns.
That was photojournalist Dave Columbine behind the camera for that story. Michael will kick off another season this summer in Chicago, where he completed that comeback and at 48 years old has no sights on retirement after all. Frank Courtney.